Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming to our panel. We have, I hope we're going to have a great panel today. I've, asked these amazing four founders to come and talk about like real AI. I think like during this conference, AI has been mentioned maybe 1,000 times. But here, what we're going to try to do is to talk about like real world application AI. And the people who are going to talk about it is actually people who create products and businesses and technologies that other people buy from, right? So they have like real customers and so on. What's sort of shared between all of us on this panel is that we are all Armenians. We have started AI tech companies, and I think all of us have raised at least Series A. So, which means that, right, Sasan? Like we are beyond Series A, right?
Yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yet.
So, which means that we have like real customers paying for our products, and I think this is going to be like a super, super interesting conversation. So let me introduce the folks like very briefly, and I'll hand to you to shortly sort of talk about your product and company. Before that, actually, I just want to say that there are, we have a lot of such companies. Like it's not just the five of us in Armenian tech ecosystem, right? And like I think like collectively, probably like these companies here have raised like around 100 million already. And over several years, I think there is a scenario by which we will raise like $1 billion collectively. And I think there is a path that every one of these companies will become a unicorn. It's not guaranteed, never guaranteed, but I can see a clear path. So this is a very exciting sort of. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So from my side, first is Van Petrosyan, who is the co-founder and CTO of SuperAnnotate. Vanjan, do you want to talk about SuperAnnotate very briefly? Like, what are you guys building actually, and how is it related to AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So hello everyone. I'm Vahan. So we started the company with my brother about 6 years ago, and it was more or less coming from my PhD work at the time. We're kind of enhancing the data. There is a technology called like data labeling, and so we're kind of doing a niche part of data labeling with images. And then as we grew the company, we started creating a data infrastructure to enable other companies to create AI on top of what we're providing. Data is the big part of AI enablement, so we're kind of filling that AI data gap to help other companies to enable the AI.
And Van, like, can you name, if it's not confidential, some of your bigger customers?
Yeah, so a couple of ones that I can name would be Databricks, Motorola, some of the Fortune 10 companies that I cannot really name, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Artyom. So Artyom is the co-founder and CTO at Bardeen AI.
So yeah, like David said, I'm a co-founder of Bardeen AI. Started it 4 years ago during COVID from the little corner in my bedroom. We're now 30 people. We help people become more productive in their daily jobs by using AI to find things that they do repetitively that can be automated and automatically automating it for them. So we take the burden of thinking what the automation should be and then how should I build it and making it really easy for people who do repetitive things throughout their day, which is, by the way, most of people, to find those opportunities and become more productive.
And the product is used by individuals and small teams?
Yeah, we have about 1,200 paying customers at this point. Most of them are just people who swipe their credit card. We started going into enterprise, so bigger customers. We have, I don't know if we can name them, but it's like $16 billion company with a yellow logo who has an office in Yerevan. So more.
All right, my brain is spinning out now. Like,
Yeah, I don't think there are too many, but like another customer that I can in fact name is Deal.com, which is I think is the fastest growing enterprise B2B company in history, and we have customers from like pretty much from every company. It's just their individual users at this point.
Very cool. So next up, Georg, who is the co-founder and CTO of Hercules AI, also known as Zero AI, right? So they just changed their name recently. Georgian.
Hi everyone. I'm honored to be here today, and it's my pleasure to tell about our company. So we have like 10 years history. We started with a mission to combat and battle against repetitive tasks and make sure that the knowledge workers have like literally zero time wasted, and from where like our name came, the zero. And now we are revolutionizing generative AI, and we truly believe that it has enough power to scale, to use our, like, leverage our solutions on the global scale. And now we call Hercules AI, right, which is for our platform. So basically what we do, we develop a multi-agent AI systems for the largest, we are selling to the largest enterprises in the world, and we are automating mostly the back office processes, which are very complex processes across different departments, and we are deploying our agents, which are working shoulder to shoulder with the knowledge workers, augment their work, automate their work, collaborate with the knowledge workers, and also collaborate with, and work with each other. So we're very excited about that. We are operating in 3 industries currently. It's legal, financial, and insurance, and our clients are usually like the top tier, in these industries, and we are growing pretty fast. So thank you.
Very cool. Thanks, Kev. And also we have Sasun, who is relatively a newcomer in this space, right? In the startup, no, not in the startups, but a fast-growing startup space.
Right.
So Sasun is from Berlin. He was born there, Armenian, and they founded the company just recently. And I should say they're one of the fastest-growing voice AI startups today. So Sasun-jan, if you can tell about what you guys do.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, David. Yeah, so I'm Sasun, CTO and co-founder of Synflow. And what we do at Synflow is basically putting AI on the phone. So when you call a phone number, on the other line, there is an AI talking to you and not a human anymore. And we are mostly focusing on businesses. So our platform is for small and medium-sized businesses as well as for enterprises soon. And yeah, we have more than 10,000 customers, a team of 20 people, fast-growing in terms of team size, but as well as customers. Yeah, we are quite early, 1.5 years, but growing fast and hopefully continue to grow fast in the future.
Very cool. Look, so as the title of our talk says, it says AI tech founders from Yerevan to SF and back. Sasun hasn't been to SF, I guess. Like you guys still in
Not
Berlin.
yet, but
yeah.
all roads lead to SF, I would say.
Oh,
so
it will? Okay.
we are opening office in SF this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's great to know. So look, pretty much so as I said, obviously we are all Armenians, and at least the first 4 of us have been born in Yerevan, and Sasun has come to Yerevan many times, although he hasn't been born here. So Vahan and Artyom, Georg, you guys have spent most of your time in Yerevan, growing up, and Vahan, I know you have, or some of you have studied abroad, but you're currently, you made a decision to be in SF, right? These days you are spending more time in SF. Can you talk about that journey, that, why you decided to go there, and, how, basically very shortly, how you started the company and how you ended up going into SF. Who wants to start? Whoever. Sure. Okay, Vahan, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So on our side, I was in Sweden when we thought about the company, and my brother was in Switzerland. But the moment we thought to create the company, we came to Armenia. We hired first few people in here, and then there are a lot of smart people, including David, Arto, and like smart kid guys that told us to go and like apply to an accelerator in Berkeley. And that was our first kind of step into Silicon Valley, which was very, very good. We got our first client from there. And after COVID, we made kind of a stupid decision to kind of move out from Silicon Valley, and I moved back to Yerevan. Overall, it was amazing to kind of build a product here, but most of my customers are, in fact, in Silicon Valley, or the ones that I'm valuing the most, they're more or less there. So we decided about a year ago to do a permanent move back to Silicon Valley, me and my wife. And basically since then, we have been growing incredibly fast. Since we have doing B2B business with Silicon Valley companies, I think my presence was there, and that's why we decided to move back.
Great. Artyom, how about you?
Yeah, my journey was kind of windy. Like born here, went to school here. I moved to Switzerland for a few years. I worked in research, but I always wanted to be in Silicon Valley. I didn't know why. I just wanted to. So at some point, I just decided to move, to the great dismay of my mom, who's here, by the way. She was very upset about it. I tried to start a company when I just moved there. I failed. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to talk to people, how to pitch, what to do. And so I decided to. I read this Paul Graham essay where he said that if you want to start a company, the best thing to do is to start a company, and the second best thing to do is to go and work at a rocket ship and then learn and figure out how what's the best way to do that. So I did that for 5 years. I was super lucky. Was working in a great company where I learned a lot. I built my network, and then COVID hit, and I think made a lot of people rethink what they're doing with a lot of free time. And it's very kind of serendipitously things fell into place. I met my co-founder, and we decided to start it like that. I mean, why San Francisco? And you should stop me because I can go on about this for a very long time. But just on a philosophical level, if I ask you to name 5 Renaissance era painters or 5 Impressionist painters, they're all going to be either from Paris or from Florence. And I think there is some magic in the the network effect and so on. And I thought that if Van Gogh was not good enough to become who he became in a little Dutch village, he had to move to Paris. Who am I to kind of think that there is an alternative to? So yeah, that's kind of on a very high level, but I'm happy to go deeper into more kind of technicalities and why and the what and the how.
Yeah, but by the way, Vahan, you guys have a sizable team in Armenia, right?
Yeah, about 80 people.
80 people. Okay. Artyom, did you guys?
Yeah, we have. I think so. We're again COVID babies, so fully remote first. So my largest single city where most people are is Yerevan. Okay. We have about 8 or 9 people here, so okay. It's almost a third of the company. And then the second largest is San Francisco, where we have 5 or 6 people, and everyone else is remote. Basically. So,
got it. Okay. So, Georg, how about you? You have had a bit of a different path, I guess, right?
Yeah, so slightly different. Again, most of my life I'm living here. I was in Yerevan, so I moved 4 years ago to Silicon Valley. So we started our company 10 years ago, and it was started both at the same time in South Bay, where my co-founder and our CEO is, and I was here, so I was building product and technology, and he was developing the business. At some point, we realized that it will be much more beneficial for the company and for the business to co-share location, right? Because it's hard to have just only 1 or 2 hours for synchronizations, and that was like the major point why I moved to Bay Area. But also, most of our clients are in United States. And I have a lot of conversations with tech leaders, with digital transformation leaders. Just always they have these build vs buy decisions they need to make internally. And usually I'm leading these conversations on our side, and it is much easier when you are face to face or in the same time zone. And regarding recent few years with all this AI hype, it's more than important, I believe, for AI company to be in the area, because as Artem mentioned, right, everything is developing there. So today in the morning there was an amazing keynote, right, by Mr. Yerevan, and he said there are 3 groups of people. So one group is deciding what to do, another group is implementing, and the third group just wondering what just happened, right? And the first 2 groups are mostly in Silicon Valley. So being next to them is beneficial both for business.
Cool. And you guys have a team in Armenia?
Yeah, we have around 50 people.
50 people. Okay. Very cool. And Sasun, so you have been born in Berlin. You guys have started in Berlin, actually. Do you have a team now in Armenia?
We have 3 people working in Armenia.
But and overall, you're 10 or something?
20.
Already 20. All right.
Yeah.
So 3 people in Armenia. And you said you guys just you're going to definitely open an office in SF. Are you going to move to SF?
Yes,
yourself?
I'm planning to. I need to convince my wife, but I think that's manageable.
But listen, you are in Berlin, right? We are not talking about Yerevan. You might imagine if you're in Berlin, you might not have to.
Absolutely.
So what drives that? Yeah.
I can give you an anecdote. So we use OpenAI as the LLM, as the reasoning engine of our AI, and we are growing fast. We had consumed all the credits of our OpenAI subscription, and then our product broke because we couldn't consume anymore because we reached the highest tier of OpenAI. And we tried to contact people of OpenAI, like salespersons or something from Germany, etc., but we couldn't do it. And our product was dead. We couldn't do any phone calls. So luckily, we knew someone in SF, which is basically Artem, who introduced us in just a couple of minutes to a representative of OpenAI. We connected to him, and in 2 hours, we basically upgraded our tier to a very high kind of package, and everything runs now smoothly. So I would totally agree that the talent density of SF is exceptional, as well as the network, right? There are big companies, there are the foundational AI model companies over there, and you need to have, if you want to have exposure to them and good connection, this is the place to be. Yeah.
But I have to say that call happened through Yerevan because David texted me,
Yeah.
hey, do you know anyone in OpenAI? I'm like, yeah, what's up? And
so the real decisions are being made in Yerevan, is that?
No, I mean, the network still matters, and I think, it's not to say that
central office still is the Yerevan, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't just unplug yourself from everything and just go there.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a fascinating topic in general. We keep talking about ecosystem in Armenia, which absolutely is growing, right? It's there is a lot of evidence for it, but still, and we talk about this topic a lot on our podcast with folks, how important it is to be in SF. Although I myself is not SF, I used to live there, but I'm not. Arto is not, and it's always we ask ourselves, what is it that we are missing out, right? And to be really realistic, what is it that I absolutely agree by the way with you, if you're a first-time founder or very early stage founder, it's absolutely needed to be there because you'll just be faster, right? And pace is everything in startups. But I still would like to go maybe to couple rounds here. What is it exactly that is missing in Yerevan? How is it? Why is it more difficult to do the same thing here And let's just maybe list the things. So you mentioned network, right? Like the talent density is one. What else?
I think one thing which is honestly very hard for Armenian founders to accept, like not Armenian founders, but founders outside San Francisco, I think first and foremost is the pressure that you subject yourself to willingly there. It feels very different. When I'm here, even like if I spend a week here, or it doesn't matter, in Hamburg, like part of our team is in Hamburg. So I think of all the places where, honestly, between Berlin and Yerevan, I would pick Yerevan, like 100%, 10 out of 10 times, all day, every day. But I think one very important thing, which is not obvious because you don't know it unless you're there and you can feel it, and this is, by the way, the reason why Y Combinator absolutely insists that you have to be there for the first few months, is that this pressure, it works magic. Because like our brain is very good at like even, I think like founders are very rational, because if you're a rational person, you never become a founder. It just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So, but even then, I think our brain plays a lot of tricks with us where you're just less chill. And I think there, as opposed to here. And here, you're more chill. Life is very different here. So, I'm a firm believer that you become the average of the people that you surround yourself with. And if you want to be a very successful kind of entrepreneur, founder,
like you need more stress in your life.
Yes. No, honestly, yes.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Because
so talent density, stress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Self-induced.
So there is more stress in SF. Okay.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. What else is there? Vahan, maybe like you can talk about connections or like more like spontaneous.
I can
meetings.
say like connections. I would say hiring as well. So right now I'm hiring VP of sales and VP of marketing. I don't really think I can find those positions in here. Plus the events that you're kind of going. For example, I went to an event that I met the CMO of my largest competitor, who wasn't really happy with his company. So he started like, hey, let me help you out with this and that. It's like, I will kind of send you some candidates. He was in a different startup already, but connecting with like going to an event and randomly meeting with some other folks that you will use them 6 months later, 12 months later, this is like super important. And the last thing I would mention, a lot of my investors are from San Francisco. They remember me now a lot. And when I was in Yerevan, although we have very good connections, like there are things that I get invited every now and then. I remember we were talking once, and I said like, I went to US presidential candidate's house in San Francisco who out of random, like, and I met like Anthropic co-founder and there and so on, right? And those things would never really happen, and the investors will remember you if you're nearby, and then they will ping you in WhatsApp if there is something around you.
Cool. So that's spontaneous connections. Yeah. I mean, it sounds a bit weird, but let's.
Serendipity. You can call it serendipity.
So, talent density, stress, spontaneous meetings. Anything else? Georg, Sassoon, from you guys?
So actually,
well,
so like Bay Area, like Silicon Valley was like created and was developing, having the innovations in the very center, right? So everything was about like, creating an environment which is the best for innovating, and that comes from like, the mindset of the people, like, ecosystem, discipline, like a lot of things that you inherit from that environment, and which is contributing and boosting the culture of innovation inside the company. And I literally see the difference here, like in any other place, and in Bay Area. And I think amount of ideas that's circulating, the energy which like inspires you to innovate, and when you are looking near you, you are surrounded with people who are very similar to you, right? And they A lot of them are extremely successful, and you can speak with them. You can learn on their mistakes, and it empowers you that you can do that as well, right? Because all of us are very similar. So that's I think that environment.
Like ambitious people around.
Ambitious people and that environment.
I think Paul Graham has an essay about that, right?
Yeah.
Ambitious people, and it's like ambitious people must be around ambitious people so that they thrive. Yeah. So that's like fourth one. Okay.
I think I have a fifth one, which is also not very often spoken, which is it's much easier to raise money if you're an SF startup, whatever it means, as opposed to being like a Hamburg startup or Yerevan startup. And it's just this one of those, I think maybe unconscious or conscious biases that like VCs, they pattern match. Like they're like pattern matching animals. Although they, if you ask them, they're the most contrarian and they never follow, but that's not the case. And like there isn't too much stuff to pattern match against like outside. And I like a very good friend of mine is like one of the most successful Armenian founders. He always talks like he was in San Francisco for a while, and the first question that you asked on a talk is like, where are you? I like, oh, I'm in San Francisco and Pacific Heights. Like the vibe immediately changes versus if you,
yeah.
and it's very bad, and we'll pretend that it's not the case, but it is very much the case. But like,
yeah, that makes sense.
One thing I want to say is like, I have a friend from Saudi Arabia. His favorite phrase is like, why choose? I think, so why choose? Yeah, why choose? I mean, I don't think it's a binary decision, honestly. I think having a presence there 100% makes total sense, but it's not a binary where you just have to lift your entire life and move there. I think best companies, like you have to be, like it makes no sense to hire React developers in San Francisco, for example, right? It's just stupid. Like you can find better, cheaper in Germany or in Yerevan. It's like, but if you're looking for kind of cutting edge ML researcher, fresh out of Stanford, who has been doing NLP for 7 years, that's pretty much the only place where you can find them. So I think it's the conversation has to be a bit more nuanced because,
sure.
yeah.
Actually, one small thing to add, I do better sales from San Francisco because when I connect with the customers and then like, hey, where you're from, like oftentimes they're from there, like which neighborhood you live in, and then those kind of initial icebreakers are really helpful to kind of create trust and so on. Yeah. While I think
local jokes, right?
Exactly.
Local jokes. Yeah, I think that makes sense, folks. Like, so what we are saying is, and again, I 100% agree. I think if I were if I didn't spend time in SF for like nine years, it would be like very difficult to start Crisp, right? For me and Arto, because there is just a lot of experience and knowledge and business culture knowledge that helped us. But I think it's important to clarify what we are saying is not like don't start a company here. That's not what you're saying, and that's not what you're saying in Big Story as well. But we absolutely always say to all the Big Story founders, you have to go to SF, right? Like you have to go to SF for these reasons, for the same reasons that these folks have gone to SF, and it will just increase the chances of your company to be more successful. And there are a lot of, pretty much like all these companies have set up where there is an R&D, or at Crisp we have product, we have some very important marketing people in Armenia, but still like it must be you need to know like what are the strengths for each geography. Anyway, so like that's one topic. Like I think sort of we try to clarify. The other thing is, look, you are building AI products. AI is just like incredibly overwhelming how fast things are changing in the AI world, right? And I wanna like if you can share like how you guys are keeping up with the development. Like every week there is something new happening, right? How do you first like follow these news like practically, right? Like what are the sources you follow it from, and how you strategize around your products? Maybe we start with Sasun this time.
Sure. Yeah, so for me, it's personally Twitter. I use a lot of Twitter because it's kind of real-time news. A lot of AI researchers are posting their papers, etc., on Twitter, and there's a lot of so-called alpha in the AI technology that's happening over Twitter. That's one of my sources. The second one is like talking to AI founders as well. I think that's one good source to also cut the bullshit, because there's
Is it some sort of a network that you're part of? Like how do you find them?
not really. Yeah, I kind of created this network on my own with
Okay.
the portfolio companies, as well as just like talking to some people that I know in the network. And yeah, it's really hard to keep up. You need to kind of remove the hype from certain things, because like AI is a quite hype topic. And I try to focus more on the applied side of things. So if I put my time into reading research papers, I could do that, but I don't know how much leverage that puts to my company. So I try to understand, okay, how can I employ those new technologies? What kind of benefit can they bring to our product? So focusing more on the applied side of things. And Twitter is, again, a good place for me to understand what's going on. And yeah, I'm also following your newsletter, since we are in the voice AI space both.
Yeah.
It's very valuable
Nice.
reading that. And
You can
yeah,
do it from our Yerevan, though.
right. That's basically it. Yeah.
Cool. So Twitter and some specific newsletters, I
Right.
guess,
Yeah.
and trying to talk to AI founders and seeing like how they sort of what's their perception of what's happening.
Yeah.
Other tips, folks? Like how do you guys do that?
So I'm following like several groups. Like the first group is the like more like creators of the AI, and it's the only way how we can follow them is the news feed. Then like the smaller ones who are already localizing the AIs for some verticals. It's all the startups. Here we have the luxury to be in contact with their founders, etc. And that's very helpful. And the third group that I'm following is the large enterprises which are implementing AI, and it's very important to understand and always know what use cases are working, what is not working, where's the gap, etc.
Okay, how are you following them though? Like, what's the source of like?
So I'm following their Twitters.
Twitter.
Like, I know the people. Like I have a list. I'm following their Twitter. I'm following their LinkedIn, and I also participate in some gathering meetings and also personal contacts.
So you have like a list of people that you find their opinion important. You go and just follow them in Twitter and LinkedIn, and every day you read what they say, something like that.
Yeah, and also our analyst analyst inside the company has a list as well. So they are sometimes following and digesting information and provide that as snackable content for me. But yeah, too much information.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Cool. Anything else, or that's it? Or maybe events?
Yeah, I'll add something on our side. We're working with a lot of enterprises. So one thing, if you follow the news, you will get very, very depressed because you feel that everything is happening so fast. And then you go and talk with your actual customers that are building those AI systems, and then you see they're miles behind, right? And this is a very, very interesting thing. I think if I would live with AI news, it will be very, very tough. But I think the actual development and deployment of AI is like 100x behind until those behemoths will start to move. I think we're moving way faster than them, so I feel kind of a little bit safe there.
Yeah, often I find myself reading too much Twitter and getting overexcited, and also, but that's impacts the decisions that we might make, because most of the Twitter folks who talk about AI is they're enthusiasts, tech enthusiasts, and they live a bit further in the future. But what's happening in the reality is far from it, right? That's interesting. Artem, any other tips from you?
So I think Twitter is good for this real-time things that happen that very hard to go back and find. I think memes are really, really important. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know the strawberry meme.
Right.
Where, and so a lot of things are happening. There's just it's weird stuff that you just have to know.
Like the one that Sam Altman posted, is that?
Yeah, but it was a whole thing.
Yeah,
there was a lot of people tweeting about it, and there were there was a lot of drama around it, and so there's a lot of kind of it's Silicon Valley is it seems very big, but it's very small. And there's a lot of gossip and kind of backstage talk and a lot of things happening through ether. And honestly, for me, the one big hack is like we have an internal AI channel, and like people just post there, which is very helpful. But I was going to say that I think there are like different levels. So there is one level which is kind of helpful to know if you read like Financial Times or Wall Street Journal, it's like they're kind of like opinion setters, right? There is this kind of part of media where like there is like generally a lot of skepticism toward AI. So like New York Times, Washington Post, like I just tune them out. But then there's like the business news where actually the executives read to know what to say, because again, like sheep's herd mentality, like all that, and like people are, it's much easier to follow than to kind of, so, but I mean, it's not like you don't learn about, you learn about latest research on Twitter, but like you learn about what are your customers and my customers are thinking from Financial Times and like kind of mainstream press, let's call it that. And then there's this like very interesting kind of layer in the middle, people who actually set opinions. So like podcasts like, you know, BG2, All In, I mean, Acquired to a certain extent. So where basically whatever they say, whatever, then like, you know, 2 weeks later becomes kind of the, so, and then the next kind of we're now going this like full level inception, like in the movie. It's the best to kind of know what Chamath is reading, because
Yeah,
that's
he has
how
this newsletter. Right?
Exactly. So he has a newsletter which literally is called What I Read.
What I read.
So that's a really good like life hack for me, where like I just go there and it's just kind of a curated list. But I don't think there's an easy answer. I think is like my wife is always, she's like, she hates when I'm on Twitter. And I'm like, honey, this is for work, I promise. But it is actually.
Same for me.
Yeah.
So basically, if we can like summarize it, it's like mostly it's Twitter for the cutting edge stuff, like news stuff. Then like your product business specific source. It can be a newsletter. It can be, you know, like a magazine or something like that. And it's really important to follow the people, you know, the right people. That's also important. But can we say that it's possible to do from Yerevan? Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Because I totally do all of that from Yerevan. I don't have to be. Like one thing I don't know how to do actually is to grow my Twitter account. Because in Twitter you need to be in the same time zone.
That's true.
To comment.
Yeah.
But I cannot be in the same time zone. It's always night here when the real discussion is happening. But other than that, like just following the news, understanding what's happening in the world. Because in the past that was impossible. You couldn't do it from Yerevan, right? But now you can do it. Do you agree with that, or not really?
Yeah, definitely. For the public information is there's democratized right around the world. You can be in Yerevan or another place, but there's some private information as well, and you need to understand if you need that private information, right? So, for example, if you are in fundraising phase, so everybody were talking in Silicon Valley about reasoning capabilities of OpenAI, like 3-4 weeks, like 2 months before the release. Like everyone knew that something will be released with strong reasoning capabilities. And the question is, if part of your value proposition is reasoning, the VCs will ask, okay, and what if like OpenAI will do? And you need to have already that answer. And that's why you need to have that information that they are doing and prepare.
Yeah, but isn't that changing as well, though? Like I think more of that private information that used to be private is becoming more public, right? On Twitter, podcasts.
It can be a part of it.
Eventually it does. It takes maybe a few days or a few weeks. It depends, but eventually it does, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of gossip, basically, doesn't go to public, and then when you're talking with your investors, they have so much kind of mingle around what's going on.
Because they are on the boards of companies and they hear this difference.
And if you're in the same time zone, then you kind of talk in real time rather than wait a day until they reply and then so on.
Cool. I don't know how much time we have. I suggest to switch the topic to the last one. So, I hope there are people that want to start companies or already started companies or trying to find an idea. Like you guys are at the front, at the cutting edge of your sort of segments, right? Like of product and AI. What are there like things that you would recommend people to focus on in terms of if they're starting the company, like look at this particular direction, this is more trendy, it seems like this is where this, AI is going, or there will be more opportunity here, don't do this, don't do don't start like maybe reasoning companies, because, you'll have to compete with everyone out there, like the biggest companies. Like if you can suggest such ideas, maybe it will be helpful. Who want to start?
I mean, it takes 10 years to build a meaningful company.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen in like 3 months from now, right? So I think you have to have a good fundamental reason to find a company, but I think trying to time it around the trend du jour, like, it's a futile effort. I mean, 100% agree with Gav when like you're pitching it, you have to pitch it like whatever, agent, reasoning, again, whatever the thing of the day is, which kind of like the that people want to hear when you're pitching it. But like you have to have a very clear separation in your head from like I mean, not the propaganda, but like the PR aspect of it, from like the actual reason and like what problem you're actually solving. So my advice would be like, have you seen this video? Like, there's a YouTube video from Jeff Bezos when a journalist asks him about internet. I think it's like late 90s, early 2000s, and he's like, yeah, but what about internet? What about internet? And Bezos goes like, internet, schminternet. So like you can research it. He says it doesn't matter. Like we're here to serve our customers, to like build the best experience for them. So I think that's much more fundamental than whatever. Again, you have to know, you have to speak, you have to say you have to utter the right words. But in your head, there has to be a clear, like buzzword-free.
So AI doesn't matter. That's what you're saying. AI, shmai, basically.
Yeah, like you have to know what problem you're solving for your customers. Today it's with AI. Tomorrow it's going to be something else. But
like basically, in other words, you're saying have a clarity around what problem you're solving, and go and have a passion around that.
Exactly.
That will last for like 10 years. And go for it and treat AI as a tool. Is that?
Exactly, yes,
okay.
100%, yes.
Okay.
I can chime into this. I'm thinking about this question a lot. There is no right answer to that, but how I think about it is just do it, just start.
Yeah.
The moment you do it, you gather information. So there's this quote, action produces insights. So you do stuff, and the moment you have done it, you will understand, oh, that was wrong. But exactly this information is already very valuable, so you can move into another area. So just start, just do it. And one other generic advice is like start from the customer's pain points. So don't focus too much on technology and like macroeconomics or what is now trendy. Just start with customer problem, talk to them every day, solve their problem, and then move from there. That's how I think.
Yeah, I think like that resonates very well, and actually that's with Synthflow. That's what you guys did, right? I remember when we just first met, you were not doing anything regarding voice. It was text-based.
Right.
You had certain idea what to do, but then you basically just realized voice is going to be more important as a channel and as a technology, right? And then you switched to that.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about that, like why and how that decision was made?
Yeah, totally. I think we did a mistake that I just mentioned. We focused very much on technology. Oh, LLMs, AI, that's cool stuff. And then we built a text agent, text chatbot. But we figured out very fast that this is not solving a problem for our customers. So we went to like basically sit on the shoulders of the customer and like ask him, what do you need? What is your problem, etc. And somehow went into this issue of voice automation and solving customer support hotline via voice. And we built the first MVP and iterated from there and grew, basically.
Very cool.
So I can add so historically here, for example, in Armenia, right, we are in percentage much stronger in technological side, in contrast to business side. And currently, for example, if we want to build a company and then raise money, etc. So now it is much more preferable to have a strong business idea, like how you will make money, in contrast to building some technology and prototype, because as Artem said, nobody knows what will be in 2 months. Maybe it'll be just one prompt of what you were building and proud of, but still business is business and money. So my suggestion is to focus on the business side first, then build on, as you guys mentioned, focus on business problem, and then to go to technology.
Yeah, I'll add maybe obvious but 3 concrete kind of steps of. I don't think you should build like a model-based company, cutting-edge model, because those are really led by top cloud providers, OpenAI, Anthropic. It's going to be very, very hard to kind of build a company in that space. Another thing, if you can find something that about, I don't know, 5,000 to 50,000 people will have a common pain, if you start from there, then I think you will find your direction in business overall. And then the third thing I would say is don't really look at the prices of the current models. If you're building an application company, which I think most of the companies should build application companies right now, because the foundation is put in a really, really nice way to find a certain group of people, solve a particular problem, and never look at the prices, because they will go down over time, and then you will build something that is solving a real pain.
Yeah, so to summarize, basically we said start with the customer problem, right? Try to ignore the trends, not ignore, but not be driven by trends, and then learn by doing. So ship as much as you can, build prototypes, test with users, see if something, what they're saying, learn the feedback, and so on. And
understand how you make money. That was the important one.
Which one?
Gav said, understand how is it going to make money, because it's a business.
Yes. Okay. And then don't try to build models and compete with OpenAI and Anthropic and others. It's just super, super hard to do that. Whatever you build with AI, just assume that in a few years its cost is going to be significantly lower, right? So you build for the future in mind, and something like that. I think that's what the summary was. Yeah, I want to say that I think we should wrap up, but I want to say that I think historically the first sort of wave of companies that were coming from Armenia, they were more consumer companies, and there is a reason for that, is because there is we don't build for the B2B here in Armenia, right? We don't get the insights. In order to build a B2B company, you need to have insights, right? You either need to be work at a big company and see what customer problems are, or you need to talk to these customers a lot, but they are not here; they are outside. So, but I'm so proud, and it's just incredible. All of the folks here, we are building B2B companies, and we are building products that are used by, I don't know, Fortune 500 companies in US, in the world, and that's very, very new for our nation, right? I don't know if it ever happened actually. So so thanks, folks. Thanks. Let's get a round of applause for everyone. We all hope that we'll be building unicorn companies, and this trend will just continue. So, thanks, folks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.